So, pizza and prayers? Take note about education in Louisiana, a big conference in NOLA, and the man behind the business report is here. Roll it, Kirk. Oh, when you talk about oozing positive energy, this gentleman is really the person that I would point to, a friend of mine for a very long time, the force behind Baton Rouge Business Report and 225 Magazine, the owner of Malera Enterprises, my guy, Julio Malera.
Good to see you.
Brother?
How you
He's
doing?
also going to be our guest on the C-Suite this week, so we're going to leave here after we do this taping, then go upstairs to the podcast studio. How you been, man?
I'm doing terrific, thank you.
Man.
Doing great.
So let's talk about Baton Rouge from your perspective now. You keep tabs on what's happening in business and in culture here through all of the things you do. You're also a motivational speaker. You're an author. What's your thought on Baton Rouge now?
Well, what we don't really appreciate, I think, again, we're not on fire. One of the most beautiful things about living in the capital region is when the national economy is on fire, we're never on fire.
Right.
When the national economy is in the tank, we're never in the tank.
Yeah.
I mean, Baton Rouge, the capital region is pretty steady Eddie, right? Steady Eddie. We're extremely fortunate. We got state government headquartered here. We got two great universities headquartered here, our petrochemical, our port, right? And so, and a real enhanced healthcare system, coupled with a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem, really keeps us going most of the time.
You travel a lot too, and when you talk with colleagues in other parts of the country, what do they think of Baton Rouge, and how do you dialogue about our city to an outsider? Well,
what's interesting is that we just hosted a national conference here in Baton Rouge. And
I
remember. It's the National Association of Business Journals, and usually the last couple of conferences have been Chicago and Detroit, and so they wanted to come down to Baton Rouge, and so they elected to come down here. And on the way down here, it hit me like, oh my gosh, they're coming down here. This is the first real smaller market. They usually do these big cities. Yeah. And let me tell you the words that people use. Not only one of the most charming cities I've ever been. This was a guy from Boston. The friendliness in the food and the atmosphere here was special, right? And so we don't appreciate a lot of what we have here. It's amazing to me that the people that come from out of the state, out of the city, appreciate Baton Rouge more than a lot of the natives. And I think this is what we've got to change, kind of the narrative. The human tendency is to only focus what you don't have and what's wrong. But again, you can't build on what's wrong. You got to build things on what's right, the things that we have going for us, right? And I got to tell you, our entrepreneurial ecosystem, one of the things that we're trying to cover more and more is all these entrepreneurs and these new companies that are surfacing up right here in the capital region. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, you're so right. When you travel and you talk about Louisiana's reputation to a lot of people is more positive than people would think. Everyone raves about the food and the friendliness of the people, and we talk about traffic problems here. You've been on the East Coast, you've been on the West Coast. We don't know traffic problems.
Look, I was just in LA. Six lanes moving 1 minute.
405.
1 minute, right?
No. My first time in LA years ago, I was like, I'm never going to complain about traffic in Baton Rouge again. The other thing, man, is the attitude about where we are. I don't think it's wrong for a kid who graduates from LSU or Southern to want to go someplace else, spread their wings as an option. What I would like them to do when they're considering options is to consider home as well.
Sure.
You had an addition a couple of months ago when you talk about the boomerangers,
That's
the
right.
kid who's left, kids who've left. And if you haven't seen it, go find that story. It really is phenomenal. Has he followed some kids who left and came back? What do we do to make this place more of an option for our best and brightest?
Well, I think that, quality of life is so important, right, to young professionals. I think, we're headed in the right direction in terms of, the lakes. We're addressing crime, right? And then opportunity, because one of the benefits we have going for us is the cost of living.
Yeah.
I mean, you could really make a nice living here. Our wages are nice and high.
Yeah.
The cost of living is low. And so, again, if you're looking to raise a family, this is one of the best places. If you can live in Louisiana, this is one of the best places to raise a family.
I agree, man. And we're going to talk in the podcast about business and talk about mental peace. I want to give a tease on that. Let's not get too deep into it because we got other business, but How important is mental peace to you?
Oh my gosh, it really is everything, because the truth of the matter is it doesn't matter if you're in politics, if you're in business, if you're in academia, if you're in ministry. If you win the game on the inside, you'll win the game on the outside. And in today's world, because of the 24-hour news cycle coupled with social media and the anxiety and the pressure that's going on in the world, it is more critical than ever, right, to be a real good steward of your mind.
Listen, we're going to talk more on the podcast about this, and if you haven't, get the latest edition of the Baton Rouge Business Report or 225 magazine. I'm actually in this one.
You are,
out
man. That's right. Perfect timing.
And listen, he's going to be on the C-Suite with me. If you haven't yet, check out the WAFB Podcast Network. There's some great shows on there. Tangi's on there, Jacques on there, and then this new one, the C-Suite. The second episode is with Julio. It'll drop on Monday. We're taping it after this. Up next, the ladies of Nurco. Stay where you are. Well, look who's here, the ladies of Nurco, doing such amazing work all over Louisiana. We're going to talk about Take Note in just a minute, but Raina, Shireen, it's so great to have you guys here. And, you know, they were giving me a rough time before we started the segment, but that's okay. I'm not going to rat y'all out. What is Nurco?
This is something that we are ever evolving, but Nurico is our social impact agency. We have been doing this since 2020, but most of our work is centered around advocacy, education, healthcare, and large nonprofits that are really trying to implement change in our communities.
And how long have y'all been doing it?
Officially since 2020. We actually started in the pandemic, like in the middle of chaos and crisis, but we've kind of been having a heart for people and doing this social impact work for a while.
You know, one of the reasons I wanted to start by talking about Neuro is I was talking with Julio Malera in the last segment about the business climate here and keeping the best and brightest here. And you guys have stayed, you're here, and you're invested in Baton Rouge. Why?
That's a good question. The people.
Yeah.
It's truly the people. Raina and I both got here at different times. I got here in 2007. We both attended LSU. And we had options to go out. I think Raina wanted to go to Atlanta. I wanted to go to a bigger city somewhere else. But truly, Baton Rouge is a big city that feels like home. It's so easy to, you know, meet the person that you need to make the changes that need to happen. And so once we figured that out and we found our core group of people, we were like, we can't leave.
What is one of the bigger misconceptions about Baton Rouge that you find when you travel? Because I move around too, and there's some things people think about us. It's like, yeah, no, that's not true.
Yeah, I'd say that we don't have enough talent or great things happening here. I think often in the media, the negative gets more amplified than the people that are doing good and the people that are investing in this community. And so I think that's a misconception, that there aren't people here that are investing in building communities and businesses that are really making a difference.
Tell me about the Take Note initiative.
Yes, so we were approached to really highlight all of the good things that are happening inside of our charter schools. Raina just mentioned sometimes we get bad news in the city about things that are happening, but there are a lot of great things that are happening. And the Take Note initiative is truly to highlight teachers, students, and families that are thriving and flourishing inside of these charter schools.
Education has been a hot button issue in the last few months.
Yes.
It's calmed a lot because of the selection of our new school superintendent, a selection that I'm completely in favor of. I'm pretty proud of him, and I believe he's going to do a really good job.
Absolutely.
I think it has steadied the boat a whole lot. What do you think we need to do, though, to jump a couple of hurdles and be a little better about supporting education and investing in it?
I think more people need to learn the makeup of education. I think there's a lot of misconceptions on what certain school types are, how they're authorized or in our communities. And then I also think there needs to be more listening sessions. I think Superintendent Cole is going to do a great job of that, bringing in parents and families and stakeholders who day to day are involved in the education system, but then also business leaders, people who may not have children. They need to know and understand what's going on and be a part of lifting up these schools, investing in them, giving back. There's a lot that can be done, and there are other places we can look to mirror those policies and things that are working, but I think it also just starts with building community, listening to one another, and truly learning the facts and understanding what's going on.
One of my closest friends is going to be in the next segment, and he's a Louisiana State police officer, and we talk about public safety all the time. And I often ask people, do they understand that investment in education is investment in public safety and economics and everything else?
Yes.
We really should focus our efforts there a little bit more, specifically in poor communities where kids have a harder time doing the work. What are your goals for Take Note going forward?
I would say that it is truly to highlight the good things that are happening. We have interviewed some amazing families and some amazing students. Last year we interviewed a student. She was the first and only football player
I remember that.
at, where was it, Collegiate? We have seen, there is a principal right now that is in Paris for the Olympics, Ms. Hazel.
She's a former Olympian.
Correct.
Who's in Paris for the Olympics.
Correct. And so it's really just to bring a little bit of humanity to the conversation of education, sans all of the politics, sans all of the money. Like, let's get to the root of the people that are actually in the classrooms making the difference.
Listen, I'm going to get these ladies to come do the podcast with us in a few weeks. Since they've been here now, they can't avoid coming and talking on the podcast. What's Nurico's goal? What's your vision to finish out 24?
Oh,
less than a minute.
I mean, to finish out 24, we want to close out all these projects we have, keep making impact in our community, but beyond that, we want to continue to be the social impact agency for companies that are doing great things.
Where can people get y'all on social?
The Nurico. And then on our website, it's www.thenura.co.
There you are.
We're wearing the same colors.
Listen.
Wow.
That was not perfect.
Professional operation going
There you
over
go.
here. All right, coming up next, there's a big conference coming to New Orleans this weekend. It actually kind of gets going later today, and one of the people behind that will be here to talk with you about it. And here's where you can catch the show. I'm telling you what, if you want to watch what we're doing and see these ladies, you can catch them tomorrow Friday as it streams as we tape this, and then Friday night 7 p.m. and replaying on Saturday at 3. Back in a moment. So you've been hearing us talk about this national conference that's coming to the Big Easy. It starts this weekend. It's the Noble Conference, the National Organization of Black Law Executives, and Chavez Kamen with Louisiana State Police, my brother, is down there, man, and it's a big deal. But before we talk about the conference, what is Noble?
So Noble, and first, thank you for having us, Clay. You know, I've always been a fan and watched you from the podcast days to now, but it's an honor to be here. Noble stands for the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, and that organization it was founded in 1976 with the purpose and goal of really just looking for solutions for law enforcement issues and concerns.
Yeah, and you know, we recently had the national president from Louisiana, from Baton Rouge, now Major Frederick Thomas with the Sheriff's Office. The current president is Rodney Bryant, former chief in Atlanta. So this conference has everything. It's technology, it's further education for law enforcement. You have major companies here. What are you most excited about?
Look, I'm excited every year. I've been a part of Noble for 20 years now, and I was brought in under my mentor, and then at the time as a young trooper, I didn't have an idea of what the conference brought. But every year we come together with law enforcement leaders from all over the country, and I have a excitement every chance I get, because you're walking amongst these great leaders that are leading major organizations. You have access to them. So every year I look forward to meeting and talking to chiefs that are taking over these large agencies in metropolitan areas and small agencies, and you have opportunity to really rub shoulders with them and learn from the things that they're doing.
It's so amazing, man. One of the breakout sessions, and we talked about it because I'll be down there for the conference, deals with AI.
Yes, sir.
And you told me there's a couple of them.
Yes. There's a couple of seminars that we'll have that's going to talk about AI. One in particular that I know that may be of interest. It speaks to, where we're teaching our CEOs and we're teaching our law enforcement personnel how to really understand the capabilities of AI, but also understanding that there are limitations and the context of AI. AI, if you touch your phone right now, everything that we do in today's world has some type of interaction with AI.
That's right.
And so we in law enforcement have to be better at understanding how does it look and impact the community, but also our public safety industry.
It's a force multiplier. In fact, I'm a part of an organization that donated $25,000 worth of technology to Baton Rouge. It's a weapon detection software that is in downtown and other parts of the city, and it puts eyes in places where you can't have human beings, so it's so smart. Do you believe law enforcement is embracing this technology at a speed that you're comfortable with?
Technology in and of itself is definitely a good thing. And in today's world, not just in law enforcement, in every aspect of how we're living today, if you're not embracing technology, you're going to get left behind.
No question.
And so we've learned to really embrace it. And you talk about technology, I often think about how now we're being hit with cyber attacks, right? And technology is something that you have to really embrace because you want to learn it. And in law enforcement, we want to learn it to understand it, but also be able to use it as a positive resource. The flip side of that is you have people that take advantage of the vulnerabilities of the technology that we have access to. And so that's one of the things also this conference is going to talk about: cybercrime, cybersecurity. How do we better protect, prepare, and educate the community and our law enforcement partners?
Man, I'm excited about it. I'll have a chance to see a good friend of ours, the new sheriff of Caddo Parish, Henry Whitehorn, former state police superintendent. In fact, you and I were both there at his swearing in, which was so great.
Amazing.
An amazing human being and well-deserved in that job, don't you think?
So I'll speak to Colonel Whitehorn. He is affectionately known as a very great mentor for state police. He is who brought me to Noble 20 years ago in 2004. He was instrumental in helping me become aware of what Noble was, and I actually was one of the members of state police, Louisiana State Police, that went to Atlanta that year and learned what Noble was about. And since then, I've learned so much, and I can't even tell you, Clay, how it has impacted my career, right?
I mean, known him for a while, but really over the last couple of years, gotten a chance to really get to know him and talk with him. And just as a leader and as a human being, he makes us look good. He makes Louisiana look good. And quickly here, for people who want to learn more about, and Alyssa had it up on the screen where you could learn more about Noble. You're in law enforcement. How do you feel the status of law enforcement is right now?
Well, we're an ever-changing world. We're an ever-changing environment that we live in every day. Law enforcement changes, and it has changed with the nature of communities. The biggest thing I can tell you is we're working to get better. I know that there was this time here a few years ago where we were working on building a trust of law enforcement and communities working together. And that's another class that we'll be offering about building communities. And our very own the Bridge City Agency Director, Nicole Scott, is going to be presenting in that class on how does law enforcement collaborate with communities and how we can be better at talking, and not only talking, but listening to the concerns of our community. So I really believe that we're growing, we're learning, but we all have to be open enough to work together.
See you in the Big Easy, brother.
Yes, sir, I'm excited. Thank you for having us, Clay.
All right, up next, pizza and prayers. I can get with a combination like that. Let's talk about it next. So, you know, the kids are back in school. We're looking for activities. How about putting together pizza and prayers? Mandy J. So there are two events. There's the block party on Friday.
Yes.
Right? And the concert on Saturday.
Correct.
So the block party is at Evangeline?
Yes, the Evangeline Break Park.
And then the concert is?
At the Independence Park Theater.
There you go. All right. Who came up with this concept? Was that Matt?
Yes.
Tell me where this came from.
So Matt Johnson, who is, his stage name is Sikasin, he created Pizza and Prayers, and his idea was to go out into the community and meet people where they are, and to be able to bring something where it's not, I'm not just going out just talking to people and preaching the gospel and preaching the word of God, but I want to go out and actually be able to bring something to them. And so he came up with the concept of Pizza and Prayers, and so he go out into the community with many other people and volunteers, and they literally meet people where they are, bring pizza, and they pray for people, they evangelize, and it's always an amazing turnout, an event. And it's not always a huge event. Sometimes it's just like a random day, like a random Thursday, and we're just gonna go out and do pizza and prayer.
So what's the dialogue like with these young people? Because I know how passionate he is about that.
Yeah, so a lot of times when, you know, we're going out into the community, we always want to make sure that I talk about meeting people where they are, but it's also recognizing our privilege when it comes to the knowledge that we have in our relationship with God, and we want to be able to bring those things to people. And of course, with the younger generation, they oftentimes have different views of what does it look like to be a Christian or a person of faith, and it is our responsibility to go in and be representatives of that. And so we just show up as regular people, just going in to reflect and mimic and show them that, hey, we're just like you. We come from the same, if not similar backgrounds like you, so we're able to resonate with the people, what they're going through, the children, especially those that have an upbringing. Myself, like, you know, I have 2 incarcerated parents. Matt have a rough background, so it's being able to like come up and be able to resonate with a lot of the kids and really bond with them over those things and show them like, hey, you can go through things while also still pushing towards God.
It's one of the bigger concerns I have for this generation is how tragedy stops them. And it's a shame, and I think it's probably my generation's fault that we didn't articulate perseverance in better terms. But you see the suicide rate, the addiction to substances, all because when so many young people get resistance, they just don't feel like they'll ever get through it. Right. And then we just have to do better. Tell me quickly about Saturday, the concert. Are you singing?
No, I'm not singing, but I am hosting.
Yes, you are.
So I am hosting the benefit concert. The benefit concert is going to be amazing. I'm super excited about it because we have so many local artists, Christian, hip hop, pop, that are coming, and there's so many kids who are coming for free. We also have tickets that are for sale for $11. But it's exciting because we're being able to showcase local artists that are in the Christian hip hop and Christian pop space, while showing the kids like, hey, like you can still have a great time and it can still be for God.
That is amazing. If people wanted to donate to your cause, how can they do that?
Yes, so if people want to donate, they can actually Cash App us at Pizza and Prayers. At
Pizza and Prayers. Go out. Look, there's a graphic on the screen about the event on Friday and then the concert on Saturday. That's next Friday and Saturday,
yes,
the 16th
and the 17th.
And the 17th. And what do you hope kids gain from these events? Families too, not just kids.
I hope that the families are able to not only be able to see representation, but they're also able to see that the community do care. As a child, like one of the biggest things that got me where I'm at is the fact that I had community support without family support. And so being able for them to see that there's people in the community that are all for you.
Keep up the amazing work. All right, next week on the show, Gordy Rush is going to be here to talk about the upcoming NFL and college football season. Julio Malera and I are getting ready to go upstairs to the C-Suite podcast room. Come on over here, Julio. Let's get you in the shot. Get him in the shot here. That's going to drop on Monday in the WAFB podcast section. Check it out. You guys have a great weekend. Kids, good luck with this school year.